This is a slide in Fort Payne, and it's in Fort Payne, but I want to point out the importance of education and bringing back education dollars. The superintendent there on the right, and Mr. Cunningham in the white shirt, he approached me about a year ago and he said, Lowell, I have a vision that I want to put a smart board, sometimes referred to as an interactive board, in every classroom in Fort Payne. And I told him, I said, that's a pretty ambitious project. I don't know of any school in the state, in fact, there's not one that has one in every classroom. And I thought it might be a little bigger bite than he could chew up and swallow. He said, I'm going to go to all the business folks. We're going to make every effort. Will you help me? And I said, yes, sir. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful idea, and I will help you. And I put about it cost about $1 million, put about $200,000 in that. And together, there again, we all working together. He had the vision, showed the leadership, and today that every classroom down there can interact with any place in the world that has an internet. They can be taking French courses, they could be being taught over in Paris, or Russian taught in Russia, or any place else in the state. And he told me today, I saw him at Rotary, and he said that he had a great French teacher, and she's teaching French classes in Fort Payne, and various high schools throughout Alabama are taking her French class. And it's amazing how well that works. That's great, and that's where we want to be all over this county. We're not there in DeKalb County yet, but I brought back substantial money this time to help us start getting there, and so we're working hard on that. Right there, we're working on something that almost came to Rainsville. If you'll remember, a couple of years ago, this group came in and decided they were going to build a methadone clinic in Fort Payne on the north end up there. Well, the city fathers and community leaders in Fort Payne looked into that and found out that 400 methadone or 400 addicts would be served every day at that clinic, 6 days a week. Now, we looked into it. The district attorney and we all did some investigation. We only found 3 people in this county that were on methadone. There may have been others, but we couldn't find but 3. Well, that meant that about 400 people per day were going to be coming from surrounding states, surrounding counties. Well, Fort Payne bucked up. The next thing you know, they looked and found a couple of sites in Rainsville. Y'all remember that? I went down with a group twice to try to persuade the folks in Montgomery to not allow it. The Certificate of Need Board has to approve it. They approved it, and second trip they said, Senator, we're going to build it. Well, that's pretty strong. When the people don't want something in their community, they shouldn't have to put up with it. That's just the way it is. This county, this area didn't want it. I woke up one night because it troubled me. I couldn't figure out how to stop the thing. I woke up one night and it hit me about a local constitutional amendment. We have in this state, you often hear about the Constitution being changed so many times. Well, that's true. But there's something good about that. You can draft just a local constitutional amendment for any one county. And so I drafted a constitutional amendment just for DeKalb County, introduced it the next day or two, that said no methadone clinic can be built in DeKalb County without a vote of the people. Now, when you pass that, then the people have got to approve it at a referendum at the ballot. And if they approve it, then it becomes part of the Constitution. It also says if there's one built, I was afraid they'd run in and build it before we got to vote on it, which we voted on it in the presidential election, and y'all passed it. We had about 3 amendments, and you may not have paid a lot of attention, but y'all passed it. So it's the law. It's part of our Constitution. If there's one in existence after it passed, then that had to be voted on. If there's not one in the future, you'd have to vote on it before we could build one. I don't believe we're going to have a methadone clinic, do y'all? But that's, you all were as big a part of doing that as I was. I just got it out there where you all could vote on it. So, you know, when you've got the backing of the people, it's pretty strong. You can feel it, but you know when you get out with the folks what they do and don't want. And I try real hard to come back like this. This is just the joyous thing that they let me be a little part of during Christmas. Angela Wilson called me and said there's a group in Fort Payne that wants to make up some substantial money for Christmas for the needy. And they all kind of put it together and asked me to come and be part of it and help. This group of ladies and men, they made up $5,500 during Christmas, and they bought Christmas presents for all the foster children. Now there's about 200 in this county. These are kids that for whatever have been abused and parents don't want them, they're living in foster homes. The DHR gave us a list, not of the names of the children, but they'd give the age of the child and the sex of the child, male, female. So they went to, and I went with them to Walmart, and we bought presents to match each child. So I'm pointing that out. These people didn't have anything to gain out of that except a good feeling in their heart. But now we do that in this county all the time. That's the spirit of Rainsville. That's the spirit of DeKalb County.